Part 3. Science and Modern Cosmogonies. Entering the realm of modern science, we find a narrative of creation that is very different in method and evidence, yet similar in its ultimate goal, explaining how everything began. The dominant scientific explanation for the origin of the universe is the Big Bang Theory. According to this model, the universe began around 13.8 billion years ago, from an unimaginably hot, dense state, often described as a singularity, a point at which all space and matter were concentrated. In an instant, this point began to rapidly expand and cool. Space itself stretched, and in the first fractions of a second, fundamental forces separated and elementary particles materialized. There was a brief period of exponential growth, known as cosmic inflation, which smoothed and spread out the contents of the cosmos. As the universe continued to expand over thousands and then millions of years, subatomic particles coalesced into simple atoms, mainly hydrogen and helium. Roughly 380 years after the Big Bang, the universe had cooled enough for atoms to remain stable, making the cosmos transparent to light. The afterglow of this epoch is observed today as the cosmic microwave background radiation. Over the next billions of years, gravity drew matter into clumps that became galaxies and stars. Stars ignited, shining with energy from nuclear fusion and forging heavier elements in their cores. Some massive stars later died in supernova explosions, scattering elements like carbon, oxygen, and iron into space materials that would become the building blocks of planets in future life. Our own solar system formed about 4.6 billion years ago from a rotating disk of gas and dust around a newborn star, the Sun. The Earth coalesced from that disk approximately 4.5 billion years ago. Not long after the Earth formed, chemical processes, as hypothesized by scientists in theories of abiogenesis, likely gave rise to the first primitive life. Through the mechanism of evolution by natural selection, those simple life forms diversified over eons into the complex biosphere we see today. In this scientific narrative, humans arrive very late in the story modern. Homo sapiens evolved roughly 300 years ago, a mere blink of an eye on cosmic timescales. It's important to note that science approaches questions of origins differently than myth. Scientific theories like the Big Bang are supported by observational evidence, such as the observed expansion of the universe or the detection of cosmic background radiation, and must be testable and subject to revision with new data. Alternative scientific cosmogonic ideas have been proposed and debated. For example, in the mid-20th century, some astronomers championed the steady state theory, which posited no beginning to the universe at all, suggesting that matter was continuously created as the universe expanded, so that the overall density of the cosmos remained constant. This theory, however, lost favor as evidence mounted for a hot, dense early state, e.g., the microwave background afterglow of a singular starting event. Today, the Big Bang Theory is overwhelmingly supported, though scientists continue to explore what might have caused or preceded the Big Bang and whether our universe is one of many in a broader multiverse. Modern cosmology thus paints a picture of a vast, evolving universe, governed by physical laws, with no definitive need for supernatural intervention in the process. This perspective differs from traditional creation myths in that it does not assign intention, moral judgment, or anthropomorphic agency to the origin of the universe. It's a neutral description of natural processes, rather than a story laden with cultural symbolism. Yet, for many, the scientific story of the universe's birth carries its own sense of wonder and awe, connecting us to the cosmos on a profound level. In addition to cosmic origins, science offers explanations for the origin of life and the development of humanity, which together form a kind of modern creation epic. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, and the many discoveries that have refined it, describes how life diversified from common ancestors over billions of years, rather than appearing in finished form as many myths depict. While these biological theories extend beyond cosmogony, they complete the scientific account of how we came to be. In effect, from the Big Bang to the rise of human consciousness, science provides a continuous timeline of development. For some individuals and cultures, This scientific narrative has replaced traditional creation stories. For others, it complements their spiritual understanding, with some interpreting their religious texts metaphorically to align with science. The relationship between scientific and mythic perspectives varies from outright conflict to harmonious coexistence. But either way, science has undeniably given humanity a powerful new lens through which to understand our genesisome that continues to be refined as our knowledge expands. Cultures without creation myths. Given the near universality of creation stories, one might ask, are there any cultures or belief systems that do not have a creation myth? By and large, almost all societies develop some explanation for how the world began. But there are a few notable exceptions or alternative approaches. In Buddhism, for example, there is no single authoritative creation narrative for the universe. Early Buddhist teachings largely sidestep the question of cosmic origins. The Buddha was said to regard such metaphysical questions as distractions from the more urgent task of overcoming suffering. Instead, Buddhist doctrine focuses on the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, samsara, and the Four Noble Truths regarding suffering and enlightenment. While Buddhist cosmology does describe vast cycles of cosmic expansion and contraction, with eons of worlds appearing and disappearing, it posits no beginning point time, extends infinitely backward. Thus, Buddhism functions without a story of an initial creation. By a deity, the universe is seen as eternal or cyclic, with no need for a first cause or a creator figure setting things into motion. Similarly, Jainism, another ancient Indian religion, teaches that the universe and time are without beginning or end. The Jain cosmos has always existed, governed by its own cosmic laws, and goes through endless cycles of rise and decline. There is no creator god in Jain belief matter, and souls are eternal, transforming, but never created or destroyed. This is a clear example of a worldview that doesn't require a creation moment or a prime mover. Some philosophical traditions in China also historically showed relatively little interest in a creation myth. Classical Confucian writings, for instance, emphasize moral order, social harmony, and the continuity of culture rather than cosmogony. While Chinese folk, religion, and later texts include creation, stories like that of Pangu, as discussed. It has been noted that early Chinese civilizations seem to operate without a widely taught creation tale, comparable to those in Mesopotamia or India. The universe was often assumed to be a continuum governed by the interplay of impersonal forces, yin and yang, the five elements, the Tao, rather than the handiwork of anthropomorphic gods. This could be interpreted as a cultural comfort with the idea of a self-existing cosmos. On a smaller scale, anthropologists have occasionally identified specific groups whose traditional lore does not emphasize creation. One intriguing case is the Pirahan people of the Amazon rainforest. The Pirahan are reported to have no clear concept of a cosmic beginning or any detailed origin story for the world. Their oral traditions, as recorded by researchers, focus on ancestral anecdotes and immediate practical knowledge, with an apparent lack of myths about how the world or humanity first came to be. Some scholars have debated this claim, but if true, the Pirahan would represent a rare instance of a culture that truly lives without a creation myth, maintaining a worldview centered on the present and empirical reality rather than distant origins. In general, an outright absence of a creation myth is exceedingly rare, even in systems that de-emphasize creation, like Buddhism or certain philosophies. There usually exists at least a notion of an eternal cosmos, or recurring cycles that take the place of a one-time origin story. What these exceptions illustrate is that not every culture has felt the need to pinpoint a beginning in order to make sense of the world. In some worldviews, the question, how did it all start, is answered with, it didn't start it, just is, or it endlessly repeats. These perspectives provide a fascinating counterpoint to the majority trend of creation narratives. They remind us that, while most humans yearn for a story of our beginnings, it is also possible to conceive of reality without a starting point, focusing instead on the eternal present or the endless flow of time.